Hey, I'm Dustin.
And I'm Steve. Welcome back, listeners, to the finest phototainment in the world. That's right, you're listening to another episode of the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast, an irreverent look at wedding photography. This podcast, like aspirin, will help you recover from your wedding hangover.
Hangover.
Dustin.
Steven.
I am sick. Very sick.
I've been living in a perpetual state of sickness for about a month now because the weather here in the great state of Indiana can't make up its damn mind if it's going to be warm or cold or freezing.
So you're blaming your sickness on the weather?
It's about all I have. Why are you blaming Trump?
No, I'm blaming my son's birthday party we had at a bounce house place, and every time...
That was a fun party, by the way. That was a great party.
You were there? This is really creepy. It's a kids-only party. There are no adults there.
Gotcha. All right.
Wow,
Whoops.
This is so creepy, Dustin.
Yep. I was the guy in the bear costume.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. Oh, that makes sense then. Why that guy in the bear costume kept trying to mime to me that we should go get drunk in the back.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah. Man, I missed out on some good drinking with this stuffed bear.
I was already drunk, so.
Yeah. No. What are you doing up in Fort Wayne?
Oh, the great state of Fort Wayne. We are getting ready to photograph an event this evening, a Valentine's event for our Valentine's week that has passed.
It's come over. And it's gone. We missed our Valentine's Day special, Dustin.
So we are calling this the Valentine's Post Special, or no, Post Valentine's Special, the Galentine's Special.
Yeah, no, that's a different thing. You can't say Galentine's. No, you're Gaientines, maybe. I don't know what you would do.
Photogentines. Sounds a little German.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, welcome to Photogentines. No, does that work?
Yeah, that works great.
Okay, cool. Welcome to the Photogentines Special.
Now, Dustin and I were working on a Valentine's Day thing, but the family issues that caused us to miss last Sunday, coupled with us both getting sick, have kind of disrupted our planning and programming quite a bit. So we did not end up doing that, no.
But regardless of all of the crises that happen in Stephen and I's lives, the ailments that become us, we still get that sweet, sweet content to your earlobes one way or another.
Oh, that's right.
Talking to you, Evan Dawson.
So moving onward, moving upward. Dustin, do we have any follow-up this week?
Not really. Not that I know of. Is there anything, Stephen, that you wanted to follow up on?
No, just we got some good feedback from listener Cody Wiseman. He said that he really loved the things I was doing editing-wise with the podcast. So, yeah, I think we should move onward and move upward from that. Dustin, what are you drinking today?
Being that I'm getting ready to go photograph an event, Stephen, unfortunately, I'm not drinking the teat of the witch like you. I am drinking a good old-fashioned Starbuckian coffee. Coffee, Steve.
What you got there? Some dirty chai?
It's just a latte.
Oh, a latte?
No, just a latte.
That's too much dairy, Dustin.
Coconut milk, buddy. Coconut milk.
That's better, I guess. I'm just on some decaffeinated green tea because I'm sick and I don't want to push my luck. Plus, I'm chock-a-block full of DayQuil right now, so I don't think DayQuil and alcohol mix really well together.
They do.
I think that's like liver shutdown time.
No, it's fine.
I got some ibuprofen too in me.
Your liver, Stephen, from last time I checked it, is one of the strongest livers I've ever livered.
It's because I exercise it all the time.
Yep.
Got to give it a good workout.
I picture if your liver could speak, it would be like, why, Stephen? Why? I'm the liver of a 90-year-old man. Why are you doing this to me?
Moving onward, moving upward, Dustin.
Stephen.
Let's push on into our topics for the week.
Themed weddings. Where did you find these little nuggets? Because at first, at happen glance, if you will, I saw these and I was like, if a bride said, hey, I'm going to do something like this, I would be like, oh my God, are you kidding me? But after looking through the photos in the article, I was like, I would freaking love, especially the first one and the second one.
You love the Cracker Barrel couple or the Aquaman and Mera wedding?
Well, I love Aquaman in general, so anything Aquaman related would be right up my alley.
Well, why do you love Aquaman? Aquaman's like the worst. It's like, unless you are in the ocean, he cannot help.
That's why he's the best.
Yeah. How much time do you spend on the ocean?
Just imagine all the superheroes in a room. Mm-hmm. Okay, you with me? And like Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, they're all like, oh my gosh, a burning building, we gotta get and Aquaman's like, oh man, I would totes come help you guys, but water's more my specialty. Can't really help out with that too much.
Water would be very helpful if something was on fire, Dustin. Water would be very helpful.
It's not like he can shoot water out of his hands, Steven.
Man, yeah, I guess he really does suck, doesn't he?
He's not aqua fire hydrant man. He's more of just like Superman in water. So he gets to be kind of what I like to call the lazy superhero. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why he lives in Chicago.
Nowhere's near the ocean. Just in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But anyways, the articles that Steven shared with me were about themed weddings. And we were curious if any of you guys out there have ever done any. Steven, have you done any themed weddings?
Regretfully, no, Dustin. Regretfully, no. Okay. I think I've shared on here before that we had a Halloween wedding, like a wedding on Halloween Day. And we were super pumped, thinking it would be like a costume theme sort of thing. And nothing of the sort.
Yeah, I think we've done a masquerade themed reception before. And I believe we've also had a Harry Potter slightly themed reception. There was an element of Harry Potter to it. But if people don't participate, it really doesn't feel like there's any theme involved. Mm-hmm. But the links Steve sent were a wedding that the couple met working at Cracker Barrel. And for the listeners out there that aren't familiar with Cracker Barrel, it is this delectably delicious breakfast, lunch, wholesome, your grandma's kitchen kind of place. They're typically found at highway rest stop type areas.
Yeah, definitely.
And as you can tell, we ate it a lot growing up. But the couple met there, and so they did their wedding photos there. And at first I was like, oh, this is going to be tacky. But then I was like, it'd be kind of fun, assuming they got wedding photos elsewhere as well. But yeah, I thought the photos turned out really cool. Steve, I'm sure we'll share a link in the show notes.
Definitely put a link in the show notes. I've been noticing a trend. There was a wedding last year where they did photos at Walmart because the couple met while working at Walmart. And
you're thinking of the Target ones.
Oh, is that what it was? Target,
yeah. Because she wore like a red dress and he had like a red sweater on. And
yes. No, I'm specifically thinking of somebody in our group added photos where they went to a Walmart to do a shop because that's where the couple met.
Oh, because there was a Target engagement session that went like super viral.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, I love this idea of incorporating in like the place where the people met or something important to them into the wedding day shots. If it's possible. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to fly to a different city just to get some shots on a wedding day, That'd be crazy.
But you could.
Yeah, if you have a private jet.
Anything's possible.
Or a helicopter.
Yeah, or helicopter.
Yeah.
Helicopter.
Or one of those drone cars that Casey Neistat was flying around in. Yeah.
Huh?
They're new.
I've not seen this.
It was like last year. It's not that new. It's the first like manned drone, and it's like a car-sized drone. So you hop in it and fly it from inside. Crazy.
Looking at this link you just sent me about doing miniaturized couples photography.
Wait. I want to back this up though. Aquaman and Mera though. Is that cool? Because I feel like hey, let's do something important to us, like where we met, is really cool. What do you feel about people being like, we both like comic books, let's comic book it up?
This is how I feel about that, Steve. It's kind of like they're saying, hey, Steve, you're into weird stuff. We're into weird stuff. We really just, on the day of our wedding, it's important to us to be us. We want to let our freak flag fly. You down with that?
I'm down with that.
Boom. There's your answer. That they wanted to be themselves. Do I think that later on down the road, they're going to look back at their wedding photos and think, what were we thinking? Possibly. But as a photographer, as a creative, I would enjoy shooting it and capturing it. Mm-hmm. Maybe 5 years down the road, I might reach out to them and see if they want to do an anniversary session
where they are dressed in clothes that aren't from a comic book. Is that what you're going to say?
Where they're not wearing a mermaid tail? Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, judgy, Dustin. Jeez.
It's all about the upsell, my friend. All about the upsell.
Is this a common tactic that you use when you approach your brides and grooms? Hey, look, we did those photos and you made some very questionable choices with your outfit. I was just wondering if you want to update those. It's been 5 years. Now maybe get some cool clothes this time, and we'll go cool clothes instead of the questionable outfit choices.
We call it the cool clothes session.
Yeah. Trademark.
CCS.
Trademark. Wedding photo hangover trademark.
There you go.
You can't steal that. Nobody out there. Cool clothes session. That belongs to us now.
There you go. All right. So you're saying you wouldn't do an Aquaman themed wedding?
I'd do whatever anyone would pay me for. But
that's how I feel.
The Aquaman wedding was, they linken it to like a hipster Ariel marries Eric in a fantasy beach wedding sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like looking at these photos and I'm like, I really just hope these people, like that's what they really wanted and that it made them happy. And they weren't doing it to try to go viral or something. Because, if you were doing it to try to go viral and it's like the rest of your life, your wedding photos, you're going to have like this giant red wig on to look like Ariel, or maybe it's dyed red hair, but it looks like a wig. Like, like I don't know that I'd want to like tie anything in my life that closely with pop culture,
Right.
That stuff doesn't always age well, and I want my wedding to be timeless, classic.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You're a timeless kind of guy.
Isn't that the truth?
And that's what I think of when I look at your wedding photos.
Oh, you've seen my wedding photos?
Of course. I've seen them before I met you.
This is really weird. Why are you being so creepy today? Is this what happens when we record in the daytime? You just get super creepy?
Yeah, that's what happens when I don't drink.
Cool beans. So moving on, we're moving upward. Dustin, you wanted to talk about the miniatures photos.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of, I believe it was you who shared an article a while back about a photographer who, didn't he like make their heads like super big or their facial features made their bodies super big?
Nope, made their heads super small.
Heads super small. I was getting there.
Yeah, eventually one of these days you'd get there.
Yep, that's what she said.
Beetlejuiced them.
But yeah, so it kind of reminded me of this, you found a trend there, and that trend has now evolved or unevolved, depending on how you look at it, to small people.
I think it would be devolved, not unevolved.
Devolved?
It's miniatures, Dustin. Miniatures, I think, is what you're looking at there.
Is that the politically correct term for these type of people?
For when you take normal sized people and make them look like the size of action figures? Yeah.
How do we know these were once normal-sized people?
If you scroll down in the article at the end, he shows how he did all the shots.
Oh, I don't read.
It's okay. It's all pictures. He doesn't explain anything. He just has photos of like where he captured the bride and groom, then where he captured the setting, and then what the combined photo looks like once he photoshopped it together.
Gotcha. So is this what you and Jen are thinking about incorporating into your packages?
Oh, hell no. Look at how much work that is. You have to go and shoot these people and then shoot the area and then Photoshop that all together. Oh no, that's a lot of work, Dustin. Why would I ever do that?
Because you love your couples and you love your creativity?
I am, I will do anything somebody pays me money to do. But I'm not a really big fan of themed weddings. I'm not a really big fan of gimmicky little things like the miniatures. Come at me.
Okay.
This miniature thing, though, I felt like was good enough. Most of the time when you see miniatures, it's like, I made the bride real small using forced perspective, so it looks like she's a tiny little figurine in the groom's hand. And I hate that. But this one stood out to me as something different and special because the guy was like photoshopping the people into these situations where it looked like something out of like Toy Story or something like that. And I thought it was very interesting.
I feel like he's doing it well.
Yes, he's doing it very well. And so it stood out to me as not being like forced perspective. But
especially considering the picture, like when you do scroll down, you see like the pictures he's using.
Yep.
He's doing a tremendous amount of like dodging and burning so that the people look like they're somewhat in the scene. Yeah.
And I mean, if you scroll back through, he shows like some of the earlier, like some of them are clearly earlier in the process when he wasn't as good and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's gotten a lot better. But the thing that I loved about it was the way he planned things out, like the pre-planning he was doing for stuff. And you can see like real time was spent thinking up of what we want these poses to be, how we want them to look and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you keep scrolling, some of these are not as good.
Yep. Told you, Dustin. Everybody starts somewhere. All right, moving onward, moving upward. Dustin, let's get into my least favorite thing in the world.
Oh. We talking about your love for me?
We're talking about gear talk, Dustin.
Gear talk!
So without further ado, let's cross over into the drone zone. Dustin, DJI put out some new firmware updates that include new no-fly zones around airports, specifically after the Gatwick disruption.
Yeah, I figured they would.
So they've created new geofencing rules to keep drones away from airports after the guy flew the drone around the airport, clearly disrupting planes and keeping them from being able to land or take off.
The FAA also released a statement this week stating you have to have your FAA certificate number on your drone front and back at a certain font size, I believe, so that they can clearly make it out, which scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't want them knowing who I am. In case I fly too close to somewhere I'm not supposed to be. It's like a license plate for your drone.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think every drone should have a license plate.
So did DJI expand the geofence from airports, or did they just do a better job of it?
They created like
I haven't read through the article.
They created like a bow tie pattern, like a 3D bow tie pattern, so that the area where you can fly the drone near an airport has been shrunken down in size. As far as like it's wider, like it's taller where the planes start their descent towards the airport, so that, you know, you don't fly up and hit a plane that's descending when it's, you know, still technically not close enough to the airport to, you know, in the past be in the no-fly zone area or whatever.
Right.
So it's a good rule because you don't want planes hitting drones, busting in their nose cones and stuff.
Busting in their nose cone, drone zone, welcome here.
Keep going, bud. Keep going. I love it. I love this song.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes inspiration hits when we're in the drone zone.
You just gotta go with it.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, you don't fly your drones. This doesn't really
impact on me
at all.
Yeah, last time I flew my drone, I was in a different country, so no rules, right?
Because, these rules only apply to this country.
Oh, the geofencing applies to all countries and airports.
Gotcha. All right. Sounds good.
Sounds very good. Dustin, your favorite Nikon mirrorless. They got that new eye autofocus now.
Yeah.
Firmware update. So existing cameras will be getting this new eye autofocus, including the D850.
I don't have any of those. So
I thought you had like 2 D850s, no?
no, 750s.
You didn't upgrade? Why you got those paperweights sticking around?
Because these paperweights have been good enough for brides for years, and it's not like a switch gets flipped and they're like, we're not booking you to shoot our wedding anymore because you're using antiquated equipment. Antiquated?
I'm going to cut this out of the episode and then just paste it in anytime that you say to me that I have a paperweight. Anytime I don't upgrade to whatever the newest thing is. This is like magic for me.
I've never teased you about upgrading your equipment.
Yeah.
I've teased you about not shooting Sony.
No, I believe it was when the Mavic Pro came out, or when I bought my Mavic Pro, and then like 2 months later they announced the Mavic Air, which is not a good drone. I'm just saying.
Mavic Air?
Yeah.
I've never flown it, so I don't know.
It's the one where they got rid of the RCA antennas or whatever. So it only had like Wi-Fi, so you couldn't fly it nearly as far away and stuff like that. But it was smaller and lighter.
Gotcha. No, I've been pretty happy with my drone. So
the Mavic Pro 2.
And I've been pretty happy with my Nikon camera.
Yeah, but you didn't get that eye autofocus update.
I prefer to focus on their mouth. I'm all about that clean teeth photography, trying to get on that gram, you know what I mean?
But now that Nikon has mirrorless cameras.
Do they?
They do.
Okay.
And their mirrorless cameras have eye autofocus, which was one of the big reasons you gave me for why you like Sony so much.
Mm-hmm.
Are you just going to sell those Sonys and double down on Nikon?
Probably not, because the reason we went into the Sony system was for video, and as far as I know, the Nikon system is still lacking in the video arena as far as their mirrorless stuff goes. The D850 is really great at video from what I understand and the videos I've seen, but the mirrorless stuff not so much.
Mm-hmm.
So sort of similar with the Canon. They're really putting the mirrorless stuff out there more for the photography side, whereas Sony still seems to be the clear winner as far as being able to really achieve great results for video and photo. And for someone like myself who does both, it just seems to make the most sense.
New on that front, Fujifilm released a new camera that shoots 4K video, and it only costs $899. And they released that on the same day.
It's not a full frame sensor.
That is correct. It's not. They released that, though, on the same day that Canon released the EOS RP, a full frame camera, which also shoots 4K and only costs $1299.
Yeah, tell me about this Canon, because I've been seeing this blowing up my Facebook. I really don't care about this Fuji at all. So tell me a little bit about this Canon, because I haven't had a chance to research it at all.
You know, Dustin, it looks like a camera. It looks like a full frame camera.
I was worried they were going to get away from the look like a camera aspect of their business model.
Yeah.
Whew, that would have worried me a little bit.
It shoots 4K, but it has the same crop factor as the EOS R, which means it's a 1.85 crop factor on their sensor. So you're really not getting anywhere near the full frame abilities when you're shooting video at 4K. So It has the same stumbling block that the Canon EOS R had. But all cameras shoot considerably cropped on the sensor when you're shooting video. So it's not that big of a deal, but it is kind of a big deal because the crop there is more significant than the like Sony's, Nikons, and Fujifilms.
As far as lenses go, is it using the kind of the lineup of Canon's mirrorless stuff?
Yeah, it's using the new EOS R, the RF lenses.
Gotcha. So riddle me this. What is this camera? Is this camera trying to go after like your Canon like Rebel type users? Is this trying to go after video shooters? What is this camera's target market?
I would say target market for this would probably be people who in the past would have got the 6D.
Okay, so somewhere kind of in between. Like you're not ready for that 5D Mark IV. You want to graduate from the, XTI or whatever like their Canon's entry level stuff is, and you want something sort of in the middle. Living in the middle.
I would say most of the people I know who have 6Ds are shooting video only. Very few people that I know who own the 6D are shooting photos. So I would say that this camera would be mostly for people shooting video. I think that's why it's so important.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because it hits that same low price range that your 6D hits, and it doesn't have 2 card slots. So,
because who needs 2 card slots? I mean, let's be honest.
Just wedding photographers, let's be honest.
Let's be honest. Wedding videographers don't, but apparently wedding photographers do.
Yeah, but the Canon camera has a flip out screen, so it's like everything that a videographer would want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to get one?
I really want to for video stuff, because we have more video stuff booked for this year, and it would be awesome to have a mirrorless camera that was just dedicated to just that. And I really don't like the way Sony and Nikon and Fujifilm look for video. Out of all of them, Sony is by far the best, but its color reproduction just isn't nearly as good as Canon's. I just find myself having to do a lot more work with the Sony stuff. And by I find myself asking Jen to do a lot more work for me. She has a much better eye than I do when it comes to color corrections and stuff. So she typically, when I get done editing a video, she'll go back through and do all the color corrections for me, so I don't have to worry about it.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So you are buying this?
No, I'm not buying this right now, Dustin. I'm not running out to the store. I want to wait, give it a little time, see what real reviews are from people who are really using this at weddings, see if it's actually worth it.
Could be the gateway, though, for you and Jen to move into the Canon mirrorless system.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So
we shall see. I'm excited with all this mirrorless stuff kind of coming down the pipeline at what happens. It does make me be very cautious about making the full jump over to Sony, just because I'm like, man, if Canon came out the gate with some video photo monstrosity, there's supposed to be a mirrorless 1DX Mark III type thing in the works. That could be a very tempting thing, because I love the Canon 1DX series.
Oh, that's because you like buying more and more and more crap.
Not this year. We are not buying anything this year, Steven. That's why I'm convincing everyone else to buy things.
Dustin, moving upward, do you want to do some Q&A?
Q&A me, Steven.
Let's do some Q&A.
But Steve...
Stephen Pike from our very own Facebook group, Captain Pike says, do any of you use a digital system for contract signatures? I shoot UK wide and occasionally don't meet wide and occasionally don't meet clients until nearer to the wedding date itself, because they are based a significant distance away from me. I could send them a stamped address envelope to return a signed contract, but that seems a bit old-fashioned. That is a bit old-fashioned, Steve. I would say you don't want to send an envelope to them when you could simply ring them up on the telegram.
Or the fax. I found the fax to be a more efficient way.
Yeah, but I like the telegram because it requires knowledge of Morse code.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to give them a pin, and then they go to their local telegrapher,
yeah,
and they would... give you that code back, and that would authorize a signed contract agreement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be great.
You know what I realized, though, on a serious note the other day? My daughter was at my grandmother's house, and her phone rang, and it's like one of those, like, actual phones, like on the wall, with, a cord that goes from the phone to the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother answered it, and my daughter did not know what it was. Like, she knew it was a phone, but did not understand why it was on the wall. Like, I realized, like, our children, Stephen, will grow up in a generation that do not know what non-cell phone, like, it just blows my mind. Sorry, I digress.
Dustin makes observations that most people have made 10 years ago. Great, I love this.
Yeah, I'm a little slow to the party. Oh, but anyways, Captain Pike, to your question is... the fact that this is something Steven would clearly make fun of me for if I was to do this, being that he still ridicules me for sending out flash drives in the mail post-wedding. So in order to avoid Steven Van Elk's ridicule, we have moved over to a system called Honeybook to handle all of our client relationship management needs, such as contracts. Stephen and I are actually in works with HoneyBook to be able to provide you with some sort of a discount code. If you're interested, go ahead and shoot us a DM and we will get that over to you. But it's a really great system. It works really well for me. It helps me keep everything organized in my, emails. And then I also have like an awesome iPhone app where I can kind of go through and quickly look up clients' information because I'm constantly forgetting things.
So, are you done plugging somebody who's not sponsoring the podcast yet, or?
We're in negotiations, Steve.
Jen and I use a contract program client management software called Pixify that we manage all of our client stuff with, and we send contracts over through Pixify for them to sign. Pixify did not used to have contract signing stuff, so we used to have to use a different company for that, but then one of their upgrades like a year or two ago, they added it in, and we ditched that other company. I don't even remember what it was called.
We use a separate company, Mr. Captain Pike, for our video side of things called agree.com. If you're looking for a service that specifically only deals with contracts, it's a little cheaper than other services that have a more full feature set. But for our video side, I really just needed something that only did contracts, allowed them to sign it. I get paid, everything, goes smoothly. And so that's like, I think $99 a year, something like that for that service. And then they take a small cut of the payment processing.
And these are all great recommendations for people who live in USA. But
I'm sure all of these are global.
You think so?
Yeah.
What is it? What's the one that people always talk about in other countries? Studio Ninja? I don't know a single person in the United States of America who uses Studio Ninja. Yeah. You okay over there?
Because we're smarter. Well, I've got children screaming in the background.
Me too. Oh, the glories of recording during the daytime on a non-school day.
Yep.
Moving onward, moving upward.
Mr. Evan Dawson from our very own Facebook group and our Golden Platinum member asked the question, can you really call 160 photos a sneak peek? What is the maximum number of photos that you put in a sneak peek? Asked Mr. Global member Evan Dawson.
Evan, that is a great question. I would say maximum number of photos that you can put into a sneak peek is actually 0.5. Anything over 0.5 photos, you're technically just sending them a photo then. You're no longer sending them a sneak peek. So what Jen and I to do for our sneak peeks is we edit the photos, and then first we print the photo out, then we take a toilet paper roll, stick it over our lens, and then just shoot a photo of the photo that we printed out. And that's what we send to them as a sneak peek. So they just get a little glimpse into what the photos will be like.
Well, I notice you do this thing on Instagram stories, Stephen, where you share a photo, but then you like hide a part of the photo in the Instagram story. Like you white it out like a ghost or something. Yeah. You say, hey, you got to go to my gram. You got to go to my feed to see this full photo. This is just a sneak peek.
Yeah, sneak peeking it.
So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Just been, hiding things in my photos and then making people, because they're so interested in what's behind that white stuff.
Yeah.
Or yellow stuff or brown stuff or any color stuff.
Yeah.
That you should use.
Yeah. Just some red splatters on the picture. And I just say, look behind it if you want to see who got injured.
Yep. There you
Works
go.
every time. Brings everybody to the photo.
Yeah.
In a big way.
In the best way.
Dustin, how many photos do you do in a sneak peek? Is it more than 0.5? Because you're wrong then.
It's just one, and it's typically a photo of us with the bride and groom. That is our sneak peek. And I can't tell you how many couples will crop Corinne and I out of the photo so they can have a timeline photo. Or, not a timeline photo, a profile picture. Yeah. So I'll see like my arm around and like Corinne's hand, and it's like, well, I guess we weren't loved enough to make it into the profile picture.
Those profile pictures have to be square, Dustin. They can't fit everybody in. You're shooting rectangular photos.
I know. Yep. So, but yeah, that's the only photo that I post immediately following the wedding. Everything else they have to wait for. So yeah.
Jen and I usually, in all seriousness, try to get like one photo out to the couple as a sneak peek. Sometimes.
So it's not really a sneak peek. It's more of a peek of a sneak.
Yeah. So we give them a peek of sneak, and
that's a sneaky Pete move there.
Wow. This is getting real fast into the dirty zone.
Welcome to the dirty zone. It's kind of like the drone zone.
What Jen and I like to do is, if our couples really want to see a photo, what we do is we just we grab a golden snitch out, we print a photo off, we tape it to the golden snitch, and we let it free around their house. They got to jump on their broomsticks and they got to chase it down if they really want to get a good look at it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So we want our couples to be hungry for that sneak peek, and if they're not hungry enough for it, they don't deserve it and they don't get it. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
But Dustin, wait. Moving onward, moving upward, but now moving backward. 160 photos. That's way too much. All joking aside, that is way too many photos.
Yes.
Like,
I agree.
A sneak peek tops should be 10 photos. 160 photos, that's basically like I sent them the highlights from the entire day.
Well, and that's probably, in all honesty, that's probably what that photographer did. Right?
Yeah, but then they just use words. Like, words don't have any f***ing meaning anymore.
Where I live, words mean nothing to me, Stephen.
Yeah, that's very clear. Every time we record an episode of this podcast, you make it very clear that words mean nothing to you.
I make the meaning of my own words.
That is also clear. Your daughter loved that.
Yeah.
She's cracking up. Do the voice some more. I want to see if we can get some more Charlie laughter on this track.
No, I'm okay.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast with Dustin and Steve. If you want to help us out, jump on iTunes or Stitcher and leave us a 5-star review. If you want to connect, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Wedding Photo Hangover or on Twitter at WedPicHangover. Dustin is on Instagram at Dustin_McKibben. And Steven is at Steven Van Elk. If you want to get involved with the awesome community of listeners, join the Wedding Hangover Facebook group. We pull a lot of our questions from there. So if you got questions you want answered with varying degrees of usefulness on this podcast, jump into the Facebook group and, get those questions answered. And there will be people in the actual group who will give you real answers that'll be helpful too.
Are we talking about the main Facebook group or are we talking about the super secret one?
The only one that exists, the super secret one, Dustin.
Okay.
Moving onward, moving upward. If you really want to warm our hearts, head on over to anchor.fm/weddingphotohangover and you can sign up to support us for as little as 99 cents a month. It's extremely helpful to us and to the making of this podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time your head is pounding, your limbs feel like dead weight, and your entire being aches for the sweet embrace of death. That's right, next Sunday after you shoot another wedding.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dustin, real quick before you sign off, you want to tell me a little bit about this Valentine's Day thing you're shooting?
It's a surprise 30th birthday for someone.
That sounds lovely, Dustin.
Whose birthday is on Valentine's Day, from what I understand. And so they hired us to photograph the party. So we have to get there before the guest of honor. And yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll probably be drinking since it's not a wedding. It's a birthday party.
Whoa. You drink while you work now?
Yeah. Why not? It's at like one of the best martini bars in Fort Wayne.
You know what? I want to put out a call to all of our listeners. If you are somebody who does drink at a wedding, jump into the Facebook group and post a photo of you drinking at a wedding. I would love to see that.
Yeah, me too.
Nobody's going to do that. Everybody's going to be like, no, if I do that, it'll get out there.
I'll post a photo of me drinking at a wedding. I'll post a photo of me drinking tonight, Steven.
Do it.
Okay, I will.
All right. Well, that's an awkward place to end this awkward episode.
Yeah.
It's a short one. All right. Thanks for joining us.
What are you doing tonight, man? Saturday night.
Jen and I are both sick. And
so you called in sick to your wedding?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Jen kind of shared some stuff on Facebook, but her grandpa passed away this last week. That was the family issue that caused us to be late last week with the edit because he was sick in the hospital, and he was in the hospital for about a week before he finally passed, and it was just really, really stressful for Jen and for me and for her family. And yeah, we're really not doing anything. We're real bummed out. He's really an awesome guy. He's a paratrooper. He was signed by the Cleveland Reds or Cincinnati Reds. I don't know. The Reds, Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah. Cincinnati Reds. Yep.
Yeah. So he was signed by them to play like pro baseball. I don't know if he ever actually ended up playing or not. The war might have kept him from playing. Like he might have had to go to the war instead of playing or something like that. So he's an older guy. So he's just a really cool guy. When Ian was born, we were moving from one house to another, but we had like a gap between the two places. And he was in Florida at the time. Was like, why don't you guys just live in my house and, you guys can have Ian there. And it was just, it really sucks.
Yeah.
So it's been a rough week.
Yep. I don't want to imagine. Don't want to imagine.
He only had one leg, and when Ian was like 3 or 4 years old, Jen was talking to him about his great grandpa Jack, and he didn't know who he was. And then finally he just looks at Jen and goes, "Oh, you mean my old one-legged grandpa?"
My pirate grandpa.
Yeah, and her Jen's grandpa thought that was really funny.
Yeah, this is really funny. I love Ian though. He's the best. I can't wait till my kid Charlie's just starting to get to that age where it's like you get that sort of young, fresh outlook on the world.
Nora just looked at me right before we started recording and said, Daddy, I'm pretty. I want time to cry with a basic dog."
Gotta get her to that dog, man.
Yeah.
Basic dog.
Basic dog.
Yeah. All right. I gotta go get fancy looking for this event.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Bye, bud.
Moving onward, moving upward, 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 moving onward, moving upward. You did this to all of us, Cody. You did this to all of us.
Moving onward, moving upward.
Everything was fine.
Moving onward, moving upward. Everything was fine. Everything was fine. But you had to ruin it. Moving onward, moving upward.
Wedding Photo Hangover was edited this week by Steve Van Elk of Bespoke Tone. Go to Bespoke Tone for all of your photo, video, and audio editing needs. Woo-wee!